back to another week of Bird Coverage. I'm your host, Curtis.
And I'm Joel.
And proud to have you again for week 12.
Week 12.
Week 12, moving right along. Joel, you want to lead off with quarterbacks for this illustrious week 12?
Absolutely. I'm going to start off with my favorite rookie quarterback of the season. That is Marcus Mariota. Tennessee Titans going against the Oakland Raiders this week. So Oakland's giving up the 30th most points. 30th against the pass, rather, and giving up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Mariota got his first rushing touchdown of the season last week, so I think this is a big, huge proponent of his game that has yet to be unleashed, and I really think that he's now comfortable back from the injury. They're finally working in some designed rushes to capitalize on his rushing ability, and I think that's going to open the passing game up, especially now that he's getting his number one wide receiver back, Kendall Wright, this week after he's been out for 4 weeks with an MCL injury. Price is going $5,500 on DraftKings, $7,000 on FanDuel. I really think Oakland is not a very good secondary. Mariota is going to have a big game this week.
Yeah, after it seems that Mariota's had two great games. One fluky game in week 1 against for a team I forgot, and then against the Saints, who everybody's been destroying. They are getting not Harry Douglas, Kendall Wright. They're getting Kendall Wright back, possibly though, but still questionable. We'll see. Definitely, but his best receiver is really Delaney Walker.
Oh, hands down.
And that connection's been there all year.
Yeah.
I'm still a little hesitant to play them. I thought that Matt Stafford would blow up against Oakland last week, and that didn't happen. Maybe
we all thought that.
Yeah, maybe Oakland's playing with a little pride now for some reason after their offense has been carrying them. But I do like the fact that Mariota's come back from this injury, and he's playing solidly, and they're finally starting to run him.
That rush last week was just a thing of beauty. It was like 23 yards. He had to dive for the end zone. That was vintage Oregon Marcus Mariota, why he got drafted number 2 overall.
But also, he dealt with his own MCL injury this year, so maybe I don't think he's going to be running around too much. That being said, also his receiving core, Dorial Green-Beckham, is getting more and more snaps and targets each week, where he gets acclimated to the offense. I think that's a good thing. So
he's going to be huge. I really like Green-Beckham. He's going to be a really good receiver in this league for many years to come. He's just going through some injuries and some rookie blues.
And I could, he's going to blow up at least one more time, Mariota. This certainly is a good shot at home against Oakland. But yeah, second best rookie quarterback this year, Marcus Mariota. It's good stuff.
Who's the first?
Jameis! Famous! Come on. Famous Jameis, 5 touchdowns last week? We all saw that coming. I just didn't mention on the show. Sorry about that.
At all.
Sorry. Now going back to more established quarterbacks, and probably the most talked about quarterback on this couch throughout the season. From day one, really, Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer, 7,100 in DraftKings, 8,100 in FanDuel. If by now you don't know how well Carson Palmer's been playing, you don't watch football. And where are you watching the show? Anyway, Carson Palmer is 3rd in passing yards. He's been top 5 consistently throughout the year. And he's done it with a fairly rotating cast of wide receivers. Last week, J.J. Nelson had 142 yards and a touchdown. That J.J. Nelson. Still, actually, 3,000 on DraftKings if you wanted to play J.J. Nelson. But this week, we should see the return of Michael Floyd. Nothing's guaranteed. It doesn't matter. Carson Palmer's putting up great numbers anyway. Larry Fitzgerald's been producing week in and week out. Also, John Brown has had his own ailments, but has had big games. They've all had big games. And Carson Palmer is the main cog behind that, of course. Also, the fact that they have a stable running game in Chris Johnson and Andre Ellington's back. Andre Ellington, 2 weeks ago, had a 40-something yard touchdown that sealed the game for them against the Seahawks.
And the best touchdown celebration of someone who did not score a touchdown. With, what was his name?
John.
The backup quarterback.
Drew Stanton.
Drew Stanton, exactly.
Yeah. Wow, things I know in my brain. And one more thing on Carson Palmer, if you need to be sold on the defense he's playing against, it's San Francisco. And once again, if you've been watching football this year, you know that San Francisco is not very good anymore. They're 27th against the pass, and they just allowed Russell Wilson to throw for 260 yards and 3 touchdowns. That never happens. And that was all while giving up 200 yards in the rushing game to Thomas Rawls. Even if there is some good rushing aspects or parts to the Cardinals game, I still see Carson Palmer having a huge game.
Absolutely. It doesn't really matter which wide receiver he has in at that point because they're so deep. None of them are superstars outside of Fitz, but Fitz is in the twilight of his career. But they've got 3 guys who can step in and are interchangeable for that wide receiver 2 slot. Chris Johnson is an adequate running back at this point, but this is a scary, scary team on a week-to-week basis, and Rob Ryan is no longer a defensive coordinator in the NFL, so we can only pick on the Niners defense and the Redskins defense at this point. So yeah, absolutely, I'm all in.
I'll still find ways to pick on the Saints, but not this week against Case Keenum. Maybe DeAndre Hopkins will pick on him a little bit.
Yeah, he will. Next, I'm going to turn back the clock a little bit. I'm going to bring back an oldie, but a goodie. I'm going to bring back one Matt Hasselbeck going against the atrocious Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. And that is the undefeated Matt Hasselbeck. Matt Hasselbeck has not lost a game this year in a game that he has started. So last week he went 23-32 with 2 touchdowns against Atlanta. Tampa Bay has obviously given up the 16th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. Tampa Bay, as I'm sure somebody in this room will point out, is a very good top 10 run defense, which means that they are a very porous bottom 10 pass defense, which means Matt Hasselbeck. Frank Gore had a really good game for the Colts last week, which means that Frank Gore will be relegated to pass catching back duties. And I really see a big Coby Fleener game. I think T.Y. might make an appearance this season, and I think this might be the game for him. So I really like the Colts to put up some points this week. I'm looking at 30 points minimum.
Oh, wrong. Joel, I mean, when will you learn, my friend? Betting against the Bucs is a bad idea. I don't quite understand.
No one ever.
First of all, let's just go over some of the erroneous things you just threw out to the public. Frank Gore's never been a pass catching back, so that's not going to happen.
But he will have to because
Ahmad Bradshaw might be the pass catching back.
Because of the vaunted top 10 run defense that is.
And the Bucs are 13th against the pass, and they're a top 15 defense.
They are giving up the 16th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks, however.
Well, that may be true. In garbage time, I saw Sanchez did put up some points.
Garbage.
That's right. Yeah,
Garbage.
Right. And I don't know, Sanchez to Hasselbeck. I really don't see much of a positive to negative thing. If anything, Hasselbeck might be worse than Sanchez at this point.
I didn't bring up Sanchez at all.
I'm just saying, that's who they played last week. This week they're playing a 40-year-old retread backup quarterback who can't throw the ball downfield.
Who's undefeated.
And Hasselbeck, by the way,
who's undefeated.
As we saw last week, Jordan Matthews did squat against Alteron Werner, and so Alteron Werner will be on T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton is a deep play threat. Matt Hasselbeck can't throw a deep ball, so there's that. And then nobody else has been able to produce. I do think Fleener could have a good game. As I said last week, I thought Zach Ertz would have a good game. He was having a good game before he got injured. The Bucs actually gave up close to 100 yards to tight ends total last week. So yeah, but that's gonna put. Fleener's not gonna have a 200-yard game. It's not gonna put Hasselbeck.
And the Bucs aren't gonna put up 45 points again either. I mean, this in a vacuum, what is more likely to happen? Matt Hasselbeck's more likely to take advantage of a porous Tampa Bay secondary.
If the Colts score 20 points, I'll be shocked.
What?
If the Colts score 20 total points, I will be shocked.
I think that's a lock.
No.
That's their floor right now.
No way.
About floors and ceilings.
That's
20
ridiculous.
points is their floor.
That's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Well, I was going to take my time here on my last pick to pick Eli Manning playing Washington. That's great. You can do the research. Washington sucks. But I'm going to call an audible here and pulling one out of the fire, just because for some reason America loves to watch Monday Night Football, no matter the matchup. And unfortunately, this matchup is one that you shouldn't watch. However, you are addicted to fantasy sports, and you love winning on Monday night. And once upon a time, I won a lot of money with this particular quarterback on a Monday night when he threw 5 touchdowns as the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears. And I'm speaking of none other than Josh McCown.
What?
Yes, I know, Josh McCown. Josh McCown has had some spectacular games this year when he's been able to start. However, he's always had a little bit of an injury bug. And then he's always had a little bit of a Texas bug named Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel
Sure you did there.
Thank you. Johnny Manziel's finally probably pushed himself out of a Cleveland Browns uniform, which for the record, I think is unfair. I mean, like,
Unfair?
now the guy can't go out at all. Like, he's got a lot of stuff.
If you spend 10 weeks in rehab, no, don't put a video of yourself holding a bottle of champagne on during your bye week.
He's 22 and he's got issues. I mean,
He's an idiot.
I think
That's his issue.
he should have never been a first round pick. That was a reach for
Should have
sure.
been a 6th round pick.
But so here we are, Josh McCown, who's not popping bottles anywhere ever, unless it's at somebody's christening, maybe his yacht. Josh McCown is only,
No, christenings on yachts? What?
don't you christen a boat?
Oh, a christening on a yacht. I thought
Yeah.
there was a christening and a yacht.
It could be, that's just how McCown rolls, dog.
Got my briss on my boat, bitches!
Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Josh McCown's only 5,000 this week, and he's put up 400-yard games. He has Barnage still, who Barnage is his boy, so I see Barnage coming back. Also, Travis Benjamin, once again, has been playing well consistently. He did have a good rapport with Johnny Manziel, but he was fine with McCown too. The big thing about this matchup is they're playing the Ravens, who, as we all know by this point, are terrible against the pass. They also have nothing to play for anymore. They have no quarterback, no starting quarterback, and no starting running back,
And no starting wide
and
receiver.
no starting wide receiver. So, if anything, it would be dumb for them to win almost. They're 3-7. Probably best to play for a chance at a good wide receiver, or running back or quarterback at this point. So I really like Josh McCown. Monday night, 5,000. He's gonna at least get, I would say, 2 touchdowns. 300 yards is certainly not out of the question for a very cheap play in a game that the only reason you can watch is to have somebody to root for.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an okay play. I just worry that Baltimore's so bad that they won't be in McCown's hands a lot. But it's also the old adage of when you put 2 terrible teams together, they tend to score a lot of points, which is the only reason that I might make a play on a Monday night. There are a couple other players that I like in this game, but McCown, for what are his prices again?
5,000 in DraftKings, and he's I didn't get it quite as
For
It's not gonna be
5,000
much.
DraftKings, there are a couple other value plays.
That's the
that I like.
cheapest you can get, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, for $500 more, you can have Mariota.
That's true. You can't have Mariota, but Mariota's certainly been a hit or miss. McCown's actually been pretty consistent and has put up some huge ceiling games.
The only reason he's starting this week is because of Manziel and the tape that they released. I mean, last week Manziel was named as a starter for the rest of the season for a reason. Because Josh McCown is a capable quarterback, but a capable backup quarterback.
I don't think
Not a
that's the
starting
case. It's
quarterback.
just he's
It absolutely
36.
is the case.
He's 36, and they're like, well, we'll go broke on our first round
No.
pick, our young guy. And now Josh McCown, I think in his head is thinking, well, if we're gonna get rid of Manziel, could I start next year too?
No, because they'll have a first round pick, and Cleveland likes to spend first round picks on quarterbacks.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. I don't know. For Cleveland, playing Cleveland, you suck.
I have a problem putting any money on anyone who plays offense for Cleveland.
I have a soft spot for Josh McCown, even though he also crushed my Bucks' hopes and dreams. But that's a different day. Well, Thanks for joining us for the quarterback segment of Burnt Coverage. I'm your host, Curtis.
And I'm Joel.
And be sure to join us for the rest of our segments this week and the rest of our segments for the rest of the season. And we will see you next time.
And if you don't, just download the other links and play them while you're passed out from Turkey.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and make sure you join us for our Thursday night segment as well.
Yes.
We have a Thursday night segment.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, join us for that.
We prepared. All right,
Turkey.
see ya.
On the couch.